During my sister's awards speech, she grinned at the crowd and said, "My sister's the family pity case. 3 kids, no ring, just bad choices." My uncle barked out, "Like mother, like daughter." The audience's laughter cut short when the CEO stood, grabbed the mic, and the air turned to ice. The elevator doors slide open, and there's Jennifer already inside, her fingers wrapped around a steaming latte. She doesn't move aside to make room. Instead, she tilts her head with that practiced smile that never reaches her eyes. "Susan, darling," she purrs, loud enough for the 3 other employees to hear. "How are you managing? I mean, with everything you have on your plate." Her tone drips with false concern, each word carefully chosen to sound caring while cutting deep. I step into the cramped space, my worn shoulder bag brushing against her designer blazer. "I'm fine, Jennifer. Thank you for asking." "Oh, I'm sure you are." She exchanges a meaningful glance with Marcus from accounting. "It's just that we were discussing the quarterly reports yesterday and well..." She pauses dramatically. "Some of us were wondering if maybe you're spreading yourself too thin. 3 children is a lot for anyone to handle alone." Before we continue, I want to thank you for joining me in sharing these stories of workplace resilience. If you believe that hard work deserves recognition regardless of personal circumstances, please consider subscribing. It's free and helps us reach more women who need to hear this. Now let's see how this unfolds. The elevator climbs slowly, each floor feeling like an eternity. Marcus shifts uncomfortably. Sarah from marketing suddenly finds her phone fascinating. But Jennifer's eyes never leave my face, waiting for me to crack. "My work speaks for itself," I reply evenly, though my pulse quickens. "Of course it does, sweetie. Of course it does." The doors open at the 15th floor and Jennifer glides out first, her heels clicking against the marble. As she passes the reception desk, I catch her whispered words to Linda. Bless her heart. She's trying so hard. I walk past the break room where conversations halt mid-sentence. Through the glass partition, I see Uncle David leaning against the counter, his coffee mug raised like he's making a toast. "Some people just weren't built for the corporate world," he declares to his small audience. "Takes a certain kind of strength, you know? A certain kind of foundation." His eyes find mine through the glass and his smile turns predatory. "He's my mother's brother, the man who bounced me on his knee when I was 5, who taught me to ride a bicycle in his driveway. Now he treats me like a cautionary tale at family gatherings, a whispered warning about what happens when women make poor choices." My desk sits in the corner of the open office space, positioned where everyone can see my every move. It wasn't always this way. 6 months ago I had a proper cubicle near the window. But then Jennifer got promoted to team leader, and suddenly there was a restructuring that left me exposed and isolated. I power up my computer and dive into the Morrison account files. The numbers don't lie, even when people do. This client represents 30% of our quarterly revenue, and I've been managing their portfolio for 3 years without a single complaint. But somehow, Jennifer's been taking credit for the relationship in meetings I'm mysteriously never invited to attend. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma's school. Parent conference needed regarding math grades. Another buzz. Soccer practice moved to 4 p.m. Then another. Pediatrician appointment confirmed for tomorrow. I type responses quickly, scheduling conflicts dancing in my head like a complex equation I can't quite solve. The woman at the next desk glances over, her expression mixing pity with judgment. She has 1 child and a husband who picks up slack. She doesn't understand that my world operates on borrowed time and sheer determination. "Susan." The voice belongs to Margaret from HR, standing beside my desk with a manila folder clutched against her chest. Her smile looks rehearsed, the kind they practice in corporate training seminars. "Could I speak with you for a moment?" "In my office." The walk down the hallway feels endless. Colleagues peek over computer screens, their curiosity barely concealed. Jennifer appears in her doorway, arms crossed, watching the procession with satisfaction. Margaret's office smells like vanilla air freshener and broken dreams. She settles behind her desk, the folder still pressed against her body like a shield. "There's been some concern," she begins carefully, "about your recent performance metrics." I lean forward slightly. "What specific concerns?" "Well..." She opens the folder, revealing printed emails and what looks like a handwritten note. "There have been reports of missed deadlines, incomplete projects, and general distraction. The lies hang in the air between us. I pull out my phone and scroll through my completed task list, my email confirmations, my project timestamps. Everything documented, everything on time, everything exceeding expectations. Here's my actual performance record, I say, sliding the phone across her desk. Every deadline met. Every project completed ahead of schedule. Every client satisfaction survey rating me excellent or outstanding. Margaret's eyes dart between the screen and the folder. The evidence is undeniable, but so is the pressure she's receiving from somewhere higher up the chain. I see, she murmurs. Well, perhaps there's been some miscommunication. No apology comes. We both know none will. The afternoon drags on with the weight of unspoken accusations. I work through lunch, solving problems that others create, fixing errors that somehow get attributed to my oversight. The office gradually empties as 5 o'clock approaches, but I remain determined to finish everything perfectly. The janitor, Carlos, appears with his cart around 7:30. He's worked here longer than anyone, invisible to most but always kind to me. Still here, Miss Susan? He shakes his head with gentle disapproval. You work harder than anyone in this building. His words carry genuine warmth, such a contrast to the cold calculation I've faced all day. For a moment, my carefully constructed walls threaten to crumble. Thank you, Carlos. Just finishing up. He nods and continues his quiet work, humming softly under his breath. The melody is familiar, something my mother used to sing while doing dishes. The memory catches me off guard, bringing unexpected tears to my eyes. The parking garage echoes with my footsteps as I finally head home. My car, a 10-year-old sedan with a dent in the passenger door, sits under a flickering fluorescent light. I slide behind the wheel and rest my forehead against the steering wheel for just a moment, allowing myself this small weakness in the darkness where no one can see. At home, chaos greets me as usual. Emma needs help with algebra, Michael's soccer uniform needs washing for tomorrow's game, and little Sophie has created what she calls art with markers on the kitchen wall. But then Sophie runs to me with a piece of construction paper, her gap-toothed grin lighting up the room. Look, Mama. I drew you at work. The crayon figure sits behind an enormous desk, wearing what appears to be a golden crown. Purple and pink flowers surround the drawing, and in the corner she's written, "The Boss," in shaky letters. You're the boss, Mama, she declares with absolute certainty. The biggest boss in the whole world. I kneel down and pull her close, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. In her eyes, I'm not a failure or a cautionary tale. I'm a queen ruling from a magnificent throne. If only the rest of the world could see what she sees. The invitation arrives 3 days later, slipped under my apartment door like a secret message. Golden script on cream paper announces the company's annual awards gala. No envelope, no postmark, just the card itself with a handwritten note in the corner. You deserve to see this. A friend. I stare at the elegant lettering, knowing full well my name wasn't on the original guest list. Jennifer's explanation about the bounced email still echoes in my memory, delivered with that practiced innocence she's perfected over the years. Friday evening finds me standing before my closet's meager offerings. The black dress from my sister's wedding 5 years ago hangs beside 2 blazers and a collection of sensible work clothes. I slip into the dress, its fabric slightly loose now from months of skipped lunches and stress-induced weight loss. The mirror reflects someone trying too hard to belong in a world that's made it clear she doesn't. The hotel ballroom glitters with crystal chandeliers and designer gowns that cost more than my monthly rent. I enter through the side entrance, hoping to avoid the main reception line where Jennifer holds court with the other executives' spouses. My thrift store heels click softly against marble floors as I navigate toward the back corner, seeking the shadows where I can observe without being seen. Champagne flutes clink like tiny bells throughout the room. Conversations flow in clusters around award nominees, each group radiating the kind of confidence that comes from never questioning your place in the hierarchy. I recognize faces from morning meetings and elevator encounters, but here they wear different masks, relaxed, powerful, untouchable. A waiter approaches with a silver tray. Champagne, miss. Thank you. The glass feels foreign in my hand, too delicate for someone accustomed to coffee mugs and water bottles. Jennifer's laughter carries across the room, bright and sharp as breaking glass. She's surrounded by a circle of admirers, her red dress commanding attention like a beacon. Uncle David stands nearby, his chest puffed with borrowed importance, basking in reflected glory. The lights dim as dinner concludes and the awards ceremony begins. I press myself against the back wall, partially hidden by a decorative column. The CEO takes the podium, his presence commanding immediate silence. He speaks about innovation, dedication, and the company's bright future. His eyes sweep the room but never land on my corner. This year's Employee Excellence Award, he announces, goes to someone who exemplifies our core values of integrity, perseverance, and leadership. The spotlight finds Jennifer before her name is even called. She glides toward the stage like she owns every inch of marble beneath her feet. The applause builds as she accepts the crystal trophy, her smile radiant under the bright lights. "Thank you," she begins, her voice carrying easily through the sound system. "This award means everything to me. But I couldn't have achieved this without learning from examples, both positive and negative." My stomach tightens. Something in her tone shifts, becomes more personal, more pointed. "I want to dedicate this award to someone very special in my life. My dear sister Susan." She pauses, letting the name hang in the air. The family pity case. 3 kids, no ring, just bad choices stacked on top of more bad choices. The room erupts in surprised laughter. Some people glance around, trying to spot the target of this unexpected roast. Others simply enjoy the spectacle, comfortable in their assumption that this person isn't among them. My hands tremble against the champagne flute. The crystal grows slippery with perspiration as Jennifer continues her performance. "Susan teaches us all what not to do," she declares with mock sincerity. "How not to manage a career, how not to handle relationships, how not to raise children properly. She's a walking cautionary tale for modern women everywhere." Uncle David's voice booms from his table near the front. Like mother, like daughter. His timing is perfect, practiced as if they've rehearsed this moment. The laughter swells, feeding on itself, growing louder and crueler with each passing second. Faces turn in my direction now, following pointing fingers and knowing glances. The shadows that once protected me now feel like a spotlight, exposing every flaw, every failure, every moment of struggle. My fingernails dig crescents into my palms. The champagne glass threatens to slip from my grip. Don't cry here. Not in front of them. Not when they're watching for exactly that reaction. Jennifer raises her trophy high, basking in the applause that feels more like an execution than a celebration. "To family dysfunction," she calls out, prompting another wave of laughter. Then something changes. A chair scrapes against marble with unusual force. The laughter begins to falter, replaced by confused murmurs. Heads turn toward the sound. The CEO stands at his table, his expression unreadable but his posture radiating quiet authority. The room falls silent with stunning swiftness, as if someone had flipped a switch. Even Jennifer freezes mid-gesture, her trophy still raised but her smile beginning to waver. He walks toward the podium with measured steps, each footfall echoing in the sudden silence. Jennifer steps aside reluctantly, confusion flickering across her features. The CEO takes the microphone with steady hands. "Ladies and gentlemen," he begins, his voice calm but carrying an undercurrent of steel. "I have an announcement to make." My heart pounds so loudly I'm certain the entire room can hear it. Every pair of eyes in the ballroom shifts between the stage and my corner, creating an invisible line of tension that threatens to snap. 7 days from now," he continues, his gaze finding mine across the crowded room, "I will marry Susan Patterson, the most hard-working, dedicated, and admirable employee this company has ever known. You're all invited to witness our union." The silence explodes into chaos. Gasps ripple through the crowd like shockwaves. Jennifer's crystal trophy slips from her fingers, shattering against the stage floor with a sound that seems to echo forever. Uncle David's champagne glass hovers halfway to his mouth, his jaw slack with disbelief. "And one more thing," the CEO adds, his voice cutting through the growing murmur of voices. His eyes never leave mine, steady and unwavering. "My future wife will be making decisions about staffing and personnel matters going forward. I trust her judgment completely." The words hit the room like a thunderclap. Jennifer's face drains of color. Uncle David finally sets down his glass with shaking hands. The carefully constructed hierarchy of the evening crumbles in real time. I stand frozen against my column. The CEO extends his hand toward me, A silent invitation to step out of the shadows and into a light I never dared imagine could be mine. I walk toward his outstretched hand through a sea of frozen faces. Each step feels surreal, as if I'm watching someone else's life unfold from a great distance. The ballroom remains silent except for the whisper of my dress against my legs and the soft clink of broken crystal being swept away. His fingers close around mine, warm and steady. "Shall we?" he murmurs, and together we leave the stunned crowd behind. The ride home passes in a blur of streetlights and racing thoughts. He follows me in his car, hazard lights blinking through my rearview mirror like a strange beacon. At my apartment complex, he walks me to the door without speaking, simply nods goodnight and drives away. Inside, the babysitter looks up from her textbook with sleepy eyes. "How was your evening, Mrs. Patterson?" "Eventful," I manage, paying her and watching her gather her things. Once she's gone, I check on the children. Emma curled around her stuffed elephant. Michael sprawled across his bed with soccer cleats still on. Sophie clutching a crayon in her sleep. I pour a glass of water and sit at my kitchen table, still wearing the black dress that now feels like a costume from another life. My phone screen lights up with notifications. 17 missed calls. 42 text messages. The first few are from coworkers. "OMG, is this real? Girl, what just happened? Call me immediately." Then the tone shifts. Unknown numbers with messages that make my skin crawl. "Gold digger. Pathetic. Using your body to get ahead." Jennifer's number appears repeatedly. "Answer your phone. We need to talk. This isn't over." Uncle David's contact shows 5 missed calls and 1 voicemail. I delete it without listening. Sleep comes in fragments between anxiety and adrenaline. Every time I close my eyes, I see Jennifer's face crumbling as the trophy shattered. The sound of that crystal hitting marble plays on repeat in my mind. My alarm buzzes at 6, though I've been awake for an hour already. The children need breakfast, lunch money, permission slips signed. Normal life continues despite the earthquake that's shifted everything beneath us. "Mama, you look different," Sophie observes over her cereal bowl. "Different how, sweetheart?" She tilts her head, studying me with the intense focus only children possess. "Shinier. Like when I use the good crayons instead of the broken ones." Emma glances up from her homework folder. "There's something you're not telling us, isn't there?" My eldest daughter has inherited my ability to read between lines, to sense undercurrents that others miss. It's both a gift and a burden I wish I could spare her. "We'll talk tonight," I promise, kissing the top of her head. "After school, after soccer practice, when we have time to really talk." The drive to work feels different. The same route, the same traffic lights, but everything has changed. My phone buzzes with a new message as I park. "Breakfast meeting. 9 a.m. My office. Raymond." His first name in text form startles me. For 3 years he's been Mr. Coleman, or the CO. Now he's Raymond, a man who stood up in a crowded room and claimed me as his own. The office lobby buzzes with unusual energy. Conversations halt as I pass. Eyes follow my movement to the elevator. The security guard, usually invisible behind his desk, actually nods at me with something resembling respect. Jennifer's office door stands open, but she's nowhere to be seen. Her assistant, Patricia, glances up nervously. "She called in sick," she whispers conspiratorially. "First time in 4 years." The elevator to the executive floor requires a special key card. I've never been up there, never had reason to venture into the realm of corner offices and mahogany furniture. Today the security desk hands me a temporary pass without question. Raymond's office overlooks the city through floor-to-ceiling windows. He stands with his back to the door, hands clasped behind him, watching traffic move like tiny toys far below. 2 coffee cups sit on a small conference table, steam rising in the morning light. "Thank you for coming," he says without turning around. "I wasn't sure you would." "I wasn't sure either." He turns then and I see something unexpected in his expression: vulnerability. This powerful man who commands boardrooms and makes million-dollar decisions looks uncertain, almost boyish. "About last night," he begins, settling into the chair across from me. "I spoke without thinking. The situation demanded action and I—" He pauses, searching for words. "I couldn't stand watching them tear you down." I wrap my hands around the coffee cup, grateful for its warmth. "You barely know me." "I know enough." His voice carries quiet conviction. 3 years of watching you work twice as hard for half the recognition. Seeing you stay late while others take credit for your ideas. Observing how you handle every crisis with grace while they create new ones. The coffee tastes expensive, rich and smooth in a way that my usual office brew never manages. So this was about fairness? Justice? Partly. He leans back, studying my face. But also about something I've been thinking about for months. Your brilliance, your strength, your refusal to break despite everything they've thrown at you. My laugh comes out sharper than intended. I'm not sure brilliance includes being a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. The circumstances of your life don't diminish your worth, he says simply. If anything, they prove your resilience. We sit in silence for a moment, city sounds filtering up through the windows. Car horns, construction noise, the distant rumble of a passing train. What you did last night, I finally say, it can't be undone. People will expect. I know. He meets my eyes directly. Which is why I'm asking, would you consider making it real? Not the marriage announcement, that was impulse. But partnership. Real partnership, both professional and personal. The word, trust, hovers between us, unspoken but heavy with meaning. I think of my ex-husband's promises, his lies, the way love became a weapon in his hands. I'm not sure I can trust a man again. I admit, the words raw and honest. He doesn't flinch, doesn't rush to reassure me with empty platitudes. Take your time. No pressure. But know this, yesterday changed everything, whether we move forward together or not. You'll never be invisible again. His smile transforms his entire face, erasing the corporate mask I've grown accustomed to seeing in boardrooms. Partnership it is, Raymond says, extending his hand across the polished conference table. Equal footing, shared decisions, mutual respect. I shake his hand, surprised by the calluses on his palm. Somehow I'd expected the hands of a CEO to be soft, untested. When do we start? How about now? He pulls out his phone and dials a 3-digit extension. Margaret? Please prepare the paperwork for Susan Patterson's promotion to Senior Vice President of Operations. Effective immediately. And schedule a company-wide meeting for tomorrow morning. The words hit me with unexpected force. Senior Vice President. Not just a title change but a complete transformation of my position within the company hierarchy. My hands tremble slightly as I set down The rest of the morning passes in a whirlwind of paperwork, orientation meetings and security badge updates. My new office sits 3 floors up from my old desk with windows that actually open and a door that closes. The nameplate reads Susan Patterson, SVP Operations in elegant brass letters. By lunch the whispers have begun. I'm standing in line at the cafeteria when I hear Jennifer's voice behind me, pitched just loud enough to carry. It's so obvious what's happening here. Some people will do anything to climb the ladder. Her friend Marissa responds with practiced shock. You don't really think she's sleeping her way to the top? What else would you call it? One day she's nobody, the next she's practically running the company. I turn around slowly, meeting Jennifer's eyes directly. Is there something you'd like to say to my face, Jennifer? Her cheeks flush, but she lifts her chin defiantly. Just making conversation about recent developments. Then let me clarify something for you. My voice carries further than I intended, causing other conversations to halt. My promotion is based on 3 years of exemplary performance, not whatever sordid fantasy you're constructing in your head. The cafeteria falls silent. Workers at nearby tables pretend to focus on their sandwiches while straining to hear every word. Jennifer's mouth opens and closes like a fish gasping for air. Before she can respond, a firm voice cuts through the tension. Ms. Hartwell, Ms. Patterson. Margaret from HR appears beside us, her expression stern. I need to speak with you both. Now. Jennifer's confidence evaporates instantly. Margaret, I was just making defamatory statements about a senior executive, Margaret interrupts. In a public space. In front of witnesses. The walk to HR feels like a death march. Jennifer's heels click frantically against the marble floor as she struggles to keep pace with Margaret's measured stride. I follow behind, watching my sister's carefully constructed world begin to crumble in real time. Margaret's office door closes with a definitive click. She settles behind her desk, fingers steepled, expression unreadable. Miss Hartwell, in the past 24 hours, we've received 17 separate reports of inappropriate comments regarding Ms. Patterson's promotion. All of these reports include direct quotes attributing these comments to you. Jennifer's face drains of color. I was just... You were engaging in workplace harassment and creating a hostile work environment, Margaret states flatly. Both are grounds for immediate termination. The word, termination, hangs in the air like a sword. Jennifer looks at me desperately, perhaps expecting some intervention, some sisterly mercy. But I remain silent, hands folded calmly in my lap. However, Margaret continues, Ms. Patterson has requested that we handle this as a learning opportunity rather than a disciplinary action. You'll be attending sensitivity training, and any future incidents will result in immediate dismissal. Jennifer's relief is palpable, but it's mixed with something else. Confusion, maybe even grudging respect. She nods rapidly, agreeing to terms she probably hasn't fully processed. As we leave HR, Jennifer catches my arm in the hallway. Why? She whispers. Why didn't you let them fire me? I pause, considering her question. Because you're still my sister. Even when you forget that I'm yours. The afternoon brings my first executive committee meeting. The boardroom intimidates with its polished mahogany table and leather chairs that cost more than my monthly salary. Department heads file in, their expressions ranging from curiosity to barely concealed hostility. Uncle David arrives last, his face thunderous. He takes his seat across from me without acknowledgement, his jaw set in hard lines. Raymond calls the meeting to order, his voice carrying the authority that silenced an entire ballroom just days ago. Before we begin regular business, I want to introduce our newest executive team member. Susan Patterson brings extensive operational expertise and will be overseeing several key initiatives moving forward. Eyes dart between Raymond and me, calculating new power dynamics, measuring shifting alliances. Tom Richardson from finance clears his throat nervously. No disrespect intended, he begins carefully, but this is rather sudden. Ms. Patterson's previous role was vastly underutilized, Raymond finishes smoothly. Which is why we're correcting that oversight now. Uncle David's chair scrapes against the floor as he pushes back abruptly. This is ridiculous. You can't just promote family members whenever. Mr. Morrison, Raymond's voice cuts like steel. Ms. Patterson's qualifications speak for themselves. Unless you have specific concerns about her professional capabilities. The challenge hangs in the air. Uncle David opens his mouth, then closes it again, clearly struggling between family loyalty and professional survival. The Morrison account alone justifies her position. I say quietly, my first words in the meeting. 30% of quarterly revenue, 0 client complaints, consistent growth year over year. I've been managing that relationship personally for 3 years. Silence settles over the room. Several department heads nod slowly, recognition dawning in their expressions. The Morrison account is legendary within the company, our biggest client, our most demanding, our most profitable. I wasn't aware you were the primary contact, Tom admits grudgingly. Most people weren't, I reply evenly. That's going to change. The meeting proceeds with surprising normalcy. I contribute to discussions about budget allocations and strategic planning, my voice steady and confident. People listen, really listen, for the first time in my career. As the room empties, Uncle David approaches my chair. His expression mixes anger with something that might be respect. You think you've won? He says quietly. You think this company is yours now? I remain seated, hands folded calmly on the polished table. You taught me something important, Uncle David. You said business is business. That personal feelings have no place in professional decisions. I'm simply applying the lesson you gave me. His fury wavers, transforming into something approaching bewilderment. The man who bounced me on his knee, who taught me to ride a bicycle, stares at me as if seeing a stranger. This isn't over, he mutters, but the threat lacks conviction. No, I agree softly. It's just beginning. That evening, I sit on my living room floor helping Sophie with the art project. She's cutting construction paper crowns, her tongue poking out in concentration. This one's for you, Mama, she announces, placing a glittery purple crown on my head. Queen Mama. Emma looks up from her homework, studying my face with those perceptive eyes that miss nothing. You look different again. Stronger. Michael bounces a soccer ball against the wall, grinning. Are you really the boss now, Mom? I adjust the paper crown Sophie made, feeling its 3 weeks pass like scenes from someone else's life. My new office overlooks the parking lot where I used to sit in my dented sedan, gripping the steering wheel and fighting back tears. Now I watch Jennifer arrive each morning, her designer heels clicking against asphalt with less confidence than before. Raymond's assistant delivers a manila folder to my desk with the company's letterhead embossed in gold. Inside, 2 personnel files rest beneath a handwritten note. Your decision. No questions asked. R. Jennifer Hartwell. David Morrison. Their employment records, performance reviews, disciplinary actions, everything documented in neat, corporate precision. The power to end their careers sits in my hands like a loaded weapon. I buzz my assistant. Please ask Ms. Hartwell and Mr. Morrison to meet me in my office at 3 o'clock. Together, ma'am. Together. The afternoon crawls by with excruciating slowness. I review quarterly reports, approve budget requests, return phone calls from clients who now speak to me with genuine respect. But my mind keeps drifting to the manila folder, to the 2 people who turned my name into a punchline for years. At exactly 3 o'clock my door opens. Jennifer enters first, her usual swagger replaced by tentative steps. Uncle David follows, his shoulders hunched in a way I've never seen before. They take seats across from my desk like defendants awaiting a verdict. The silence stretches until Jennifer breaks. You're going to fire us, aren't you? Her voice comes out as barely a whisper, all bravado stripped away. I study their faces, Jennifer's makeup slightly smudged around her eyes, Uncle David's hands trembling against his knees. Fear radiates from them in waves, filling the office with desperate energy. No, I say softly. The relief hits them like a physical force. Jennifer's shoulders sag. Uncle David releases a breath he's been holding for weeks. But their celebration is premature and something in my expression must warn them. You'll stay, I continue, my voice calm and measured. You'll clock in every single day. You'll attend every meeting, every company event, every presentation. And you'll watch the family pity case run this company. Jennifer's face crumbles as understanding dawns. Susan, please. You'll see me make decisions that affect hundreds of employees. You'll watch me sign contracts worth millions of dollars. You'll witness the respect I command from clients, from board members, from people who matter. Uncle David's head drops toward his chest. This is cruel. Cruel. I lean back in my chair, fingers steepled. Cruel is humiliating someone at a company gala. Cruel is spreading lies about their performance. Cruel is making a woman's children bear witness to their mother's daily degradation. Tears stream down Jennifer's cheeks now, her carefully applied mascara creating dark tracks. We're family. You taught me that family means nothing when business is involved, I interrupt. Uncle David made that very clear. So this is business. I open the personnel files, spreading their contents across my desk like playing cards. 47 documented instances of workplace harassment. 32 complaints from other employees. Falsified performance reports. Sabotaged projects. Their faces pale further with each revelation. Any one of these infractions justifies immediate termination, I continue. But termination would be mercy. It would let you leave with dignity intact, find new positions, start fresh somewhere else. Jennifer sobs openly now, her composure completely shattered. Uncle David stares at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. Instead, you'll remain here as a daily reminder. Every time you see my nameplate on this door, every time you address me as Patterson in meetings, every time you watch others seek my approval, you'll remember that the woman you tried to destroy is now the one who controls your future. I close the files with deliberate precision. This isn't forgiveness. This is your sentence. Uncle David finally raises his head, his eyes red-rimmed. How long? As long as it takes. For what? For you to understand what you put me through. For you to feel what it's like to be powerless while someone else holds all the cards. They leave my office in silence, their footsteps heavy against the carpeted hallway. Through my window I watch them cross the parking lot separately, 2 figures diminished by their own actions. The next morning brings an unexpected visitor. Samantha Rodriguez from the marketing department knocks on my open door, her young face bright with nervous energy. Miss Patterson? Do you have a moment? Of course. Please sit down. She perches on the edge of the chair, hands clasped tightly in her lap. I wanted to thank you for what you're doing here. I'm not sure I understand. The way you've handled everything. The promotion, the changes, even how you dealt with. She glances toward the door, lowering her voice. With the people who treated you badly. I set down my pen, giving her my full attention. What do you mean? There are others like me, she says quietly. Younger employees, women especially, who've been pushed around, overlooked, made to feel like we don't belong. Watching you stand up for yourself, seeing you succeed despite everything they threw at you. Her voice wavers with emotion. You gave us hope. The words hit me with unexpected force. All this time I'd been focused on my own pain, my own struggle for recognition. I hadn't considered that others might be watching, taking strength from my example. They told us to keep our heads down, don't make waves, be grateful for what we have, Samantha continues. But you showed us we don't have to accept that anymore. She stands to leave, then pauses at the door. You made us believe we don't have to take it anymore. After she's gone, I sit alone in my office as afternoon sunlight slants through the windows. The realization settles over me slowly, like dawn breaking across a landscape I hadn't noticed before. This isn't just about Jennifer and Uncle David anymore. It's not even about my own vindication. Somewhere along the way, my personal battle became something larger, a symbol of possibility for everyone who's ever been underestimated, overlooked, or pushed aside. My phone buzzes with a text from Emma. Mom, Lily's mom said you're famous at work now. Is that true? I smile, typing back, not famous, sweetheart. Just finally visible. Through my office window, I see Jennifer walking toward the building, her steps slower than usual. Tomorrow she'll sit in another meeting where I lead discussions and make decisions. Tomorrow Uncle David will witness me commanding respect from people who once dismissed us both. But now I understand that my victory isn't really about making them watch. It's about showing everyone else, the Samanthas, the overlooked, the underestimated, that power structures can change, that voices can be heard, that pity cases can become the people writing the rules. The cruelest kindness isn't keeping them here to suffer. It's letting them witness the birth of something they never thought possible, a world where people like me don't just survive but thrive. The transformation begins with small changes that ripple outward like stones thrown into still water. My first executive decision, the policy passes unanimously, though I catch Jennifer's bitter expression across the conference table. Within months, productivity increases by 18%. Turnover drops to historic lows. The company culture shifts from fear-based competition to collaborative excellence, and our clients notice the difference immediately. I launched the Women's Leadership Initiative on a crisp October morning, standing before an audience of female employees who once whispered about my struggles in break rooms. Now they listen with genuine attention as I outline mentorship programs, leadership training, and clear pathways for advancement. Every woman in this room has something valuable to contribute, I tell them. Our job is to make sure those contributions are seen, heard, and rewarded. Samantha Rodriguez raises her hand. What about those who try to undermine us? The people who see our success as their threat. I glance toward the back of the room where Jennifer sits, her notepad untouched, her expression carefully neutral. We succeed anyway. Excellence is the best response to negativity. The applause that follows feels different from that night at the gala. This isn't shock or surprise, it's recognition, respect, solidarity. Raymond and I meet every evening now, our professional partnership deepening into something neither of us expected. We share coffee in his office as the sun sets over the city, discussing everything from budget allocations to our children's homework struggles. The Morrison account renewed for another 3 years, he mentions, sliding the contract across his desk. They specifically requested you remain their primary contact. I scan the terms, noting the increased value, the expanded scope. 38% revenue increase. Not bad for a family pity case. His laugh carries genuine warmth. I love watching you own your success. It took me a while to believe I deserved it. And now? I consider his question while watching traffic move far below. Now I know the difference between deserving something and fighting for it. Turns out, the fighting is what makes you worthy. One evening, as we review quarterly projections, he sets down his pen and studies my face. Do you think you'll ever forgive them? Jennifer and David. The question catches me off guard, though perhaps it shouldn't. Forgiveness has become a luxury I'm not sure I can afford. Forgiveness isn't the goal, I say finally. Peace is. And peace doesn't require their absolution. What does it require? Knowing that their opinion of me no longer defines my reality. He nods slowly, understanding something unspoken between us. Our relationship has grown from convenience to genuine partnership, built on mutual respect rather than rescue fantasies. The second annual company gala arrives with less fanfare but more meaning. This time, I'm not hiding in shadows or wearing thrift store dresses. I stand at the podium as the evening's keynote speaker, my children seated at a front table Raymond reserved specifically for them. Jennifer and Uncle David occupy a table near the back, their presence a quiet reminder of how far we've all traveled. Jennifer's voice has grown softer over the months, her sharp edges worn smooth by daily exposure to her own irrelevance. Uncle David speaks in meetings only when directly addressed, his former bluster replaced by careful caution. Their punishment wasn't dismissal, it's watching my success unfold before their eyes, day after day, decision after decision. They clock in each morning to witness a reality they tried to prevent, a world where the woman they labeled a failure now shapes their professional future. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, looking out at faces that now turn toward me with attention instead of pity. 1 year ago, someone in this room called me the family pity case. Tonight, I want to talk about what that really means. The room falls silent. Even the servers pause their movements. It means someone who's been counted out, written off, dismissed as insignificant. It means someone whose struggles are seen as entertainment, whose failures become cautionary tales. I pause, letting the words settle. But here's what I learned: being underestimated is actually a superpower. Laughter ripples through the audience, nervous at first, then genuine. While others were busy celebrating their assumptions about me, I was working, learning, growing, building something they couldn't see because they refused to look. Emma stands suddenly, walking toward the stage with something clutched in her hands. Sophie and Michael follow, their faces bright with pride. Together, they present me with a handmade plaque decorated with glitter and construction paper flowers. World's best mom, world's best boss. The applause begins slowly, building like a wave. But this time it's not shock or surprise or even sympathy. It's recognition, respect, celebration of genuine achievement. People stand, their faces reflecting something I've rarely seen directed at me: admiration. This company changed because we all changed, I continue once the applause fades. We chose collaboration over competition, support over sabotage, excellence over politics. That's not my legacy alone. It belongs to everyone who decided to build something better. As I speak, my eyes find Jennifer's table. She's crying quietly, not from humiliation this time, but from something more complex. Perhaps understanding, maybe regret. Uncle David stares at his hands, shoulders slumped with the weight of his own choices. Their presence no longer threatens me. If anything, they've become footnotes in a story that grew far beyond their ability to control or contain. After the gala, Raymond walks me to my car while the children chase each other around the parking lot, their formal clothes already rumpled from the evening's excitement. "You've changed everything," he says quietly. "Not just the company, the way people think about possibility." I watch Emma twirl in her dress, Sophie's gap-toothed grin catching streetlight, Michael's confident stride that mirrors my own newfound certainty. My greatest victory wasn't revenge, I realize aloud. It was reclaiming. I look back at the hotel where conversations continue inside, where new alliances form and dreams take shape, where women like Samantha Rodriguez plan their own rises to power. We keep building, I say simply. We keep showing others what's possible when you refuse to accept someone else's limitations. The children pile into my car, chattering about the evening's events, about the important people who spoke to them like equals, about their mother who commands respect without demanding it. As we drive home through the city streets, I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror. The tired eyes are clearer now, the creased blazer replaced by confidence that fits better than any designer clothes. I am no longer the family pity case. I am the woman who transformed pity into power, who forged a legacy from the fire of others' cruelty, who discovered that the greatest revenge is living well enough to lift others as you rise. If this story of workplace triumph had you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button right now. My favorite part was when Susan chose cruel kindness over firing them, making them witness her success daily. What was your favorite moment? Drop it in the comments below. Don't miss more empowering stories like this. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.